Hello and welcome back to the Argyle AI Strategy Summit. My name is Vicki Lynn Brunskill with Argyle. It's great to have everyone joining us today. Just a quick note before I turn things over to our esteemed speaker for this session. To ask questions throughout the session, simply type into the Q&A chat and we will address your questions at the end of the session, or if it's in real time, Natalie may pick those questions out of the chat in real time as well. And now, without further delay, I would like to introduce our speaker, Natalie Myers, Professor of the Practice, University of Notre Dame. We are excited to have Natalie with us for a keynote presentation titled, "Whose AI Bill of Rights Will Govern Our Models, Platforms, and Hiring?" Welcome, Natalie, over to you.
Thank you, Vicki Lynn. Hello, everyone. I really want to thank the Argyle Forum for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today about the topic of whose AI Bill of Rights will govern our models, platforms, and careers. And I bet you can guess that that title is really a leading question because the answer is many. What we know from the work that I've been doing with the European Open Science Cloud Future Project and the Research Data Alliance Artificial Intelligence and Data Visitation Working Group is that there is a huge multiplicity and proliferation of AI bills of rights, policies, and government activities going on right now. Our working group has had as its mandate to conduct a survey related to current ethical, legal, policy, and societal concerns related to generative AI, to produce guidance on legal considerations for AI and DV, and to offer guidance for informed consent, and for ethics committees reviewing AI and DV. I've had the good fortune to work on the fifth sub-team, a team working on a communique regarding the proliferation of AI Bill of Rights documents. I'm going to ask Lindsay and Vicki to share in the chat a link to the AI DV working group so you can get more information, including access to those draft recommendations for legal considerations, informed consent, and ethics committees, as well as our communique on the AI Bill of Rights. Let's talk for a second about AI org structure and the hats we wear. Here in the center, you see the European Open Science Cloud mandate for our committee and for the European Open Science Cloud itself. You'll notice that I've circled in red that there will be an ethics and legal advisory board, an intellectual property working group, a data protection working group, a policy standing committee, a data protection officer working on governance, a data protection working group. They will be producing and managing ethics and codes of conduct. There will be a controlled and controller role versus processor arrangements. And there will be a whole team working on risk, compliance, use and reuse of personal data, as well as governance of international data transfers, how to handle rights requests, and training and awareness. In other words, there are a lot of jobs that require us to have familiarity with artificial intelligence and data visitation. So let's take a look about how that translates into corporate environments and other organizations. Here on my left, you'll see a little subbar called Who is Doing Model Governance. Here we know from the VERT AI study on AI that sometimes these are called ADA teams, AI ethics councils, and so on. Within your organization, these model governance ethics council groups may have many different names. They may exist already, but by a different name. Here on the right, you can see how our existing machine learning platform teams may already be hired, may already be in place partially or completely to handle different organizational and operational activities related to artificial intelligence and machine learning. They may go by the name of AI applications team or AI team, AI ops team, data and machine learning, DevOps. We've had many of these teams for a long time. Some of what you'll be hearing today is about organizational units and people you already have. Let's look at the top job titles for postings referencing generative AI from earlier this past spring. Those included machine learning engineers, they included innovation strategy managers, the ever-present data scientist. Again, what we're seeing is titles that we've had before, but being hired in different proportions than we've seen in the past. We can also see down here on the right how the number of job postings in the United States referencing generative AI is climbing exponentially. What's this look like when we look at job postings by percent of all postings in the United States? We can see in 2022 an increase over the year before in AI job postings related to information, professional, scientific, and technical services. And we can see who in which industry categories is hiring in AI in areas where we're likely to see impact because of that hiring. One thing that generative AI has impacted in a substantial way is coding. What we've discovered is that persons using generative AI to improve their code are changing how we use the internet if our role is to develop code or to debug code. Here on the right, you can see a graph showing the decline in the use of Stack Overflow, a forum for getting advice on code fixes, compared to the GitHub rollout of its Copilot AI Gen tool for code. I think this is interesting, and this divergence shows us how what people in the job and in the organization are going to be doing differently in the future and how they'll be spending their time and on which platforms. They will be using generative AI to improve their code and to debug more quickly and to reuse code more quickly. So the role of a programmer and the ways that they use the internet to tackle their task may be changing and impacting the skills you need in your developers. Developers who are familiar with using Gen AI to improve their code may have a competitive edge over other developers in the future. Here we see that things like generative AI are creating job loss concerns, as is AI as a whole. But many policymakers are adopting a wait-and-see approach. How's this impact spending? Here we can see from the 2023 Vert Insights Investment Priorities Report that investment in AI ML talent categories is changing over time. We are starting to see significant increases in AI ML talent categories related to data science, talent, and labor. I mentioned that before. Decreases or stay about the same in some traditional statistics areas, while we can see ML, engineering, talent, and labor growing compared to investments in previous years. We can also see investments to support new AI ML teams and committees over time, particularly related to model operationalization and model experimentation, as well as people and teams who will be working on machine learning platforms themselves. We're seeing slight increase in AI ethics and responsible AI team building. And these we're going to help companies with their compliance challenges. In my group, we've been working on an AI Bill of Rights inquiry. Our mission for the Research Data Alliance was to produce an AI Bill of Rights communique for the European Open Science Cloud Future Project and the Research Data Alliance to promote fundamental human rights and advance trust in AI and federated systems for open science. We were a multinational group responding to a multinational membership organization. What we found were a proliferation of different AI policies, over 900 to date. You can see those in this shared library. Lindsay or Vicki Lynn, if you could share that link to the group, that'd be terrific. In this open library, which you can access, what we found were jurisdictional AI bills of rights that impacted people of particular regions, nations, or international consortia. And here on the right, disciplinary or niche bills of rights that were impactful within disciplinary or organizational types like education or generative AI for the arts and copyright. On the right, you see the strategy we took, which was to examine how different bills of rights would impact protected parties, what the specific rights and protections were related to those parties, and to compare and contrast those across the areas that they influenced. We have in the shared library categorized by jurisdictional rights declaration and acts, education, healthcare and medicine, legal, privacy, surveillance, generative AI and publishing, authorship and copyright, as well as related news stories, and a category we call risk. Within those categories, we've also tagged by country, the AIDV subteam working on the topic, and the common keywords used in the literature. All of this effort is yours to explore and reuse, and we hope that it will help you understand the proliferation of AI bills of rights that might impact the data you use. In other words, whose data are you using and what bill of rights were those users and their data collected under, versus the Bill of Rights that might impact your modelers or your model deployers. And finally, the bills of rights that might impact where you can run your models, on what hardware, in what jurisdictions, and how people in those jurisdictions can do decision-making impacting individuals or protected groups using that AI. Some of the groups and their bills of rights that are categorized in the open library include the UNESCO recommendations. It covers 75 countries and is the result of activity by experts from more than 60 countries. You'll also see a Future of Life National Strategy Radar dashboard that you may find useful. This tool allows you to explore by geography different topics related to AI and AI bills of rights. For example, consumer protection or automated driving. Here in the United States, where I'm speaking from, we have many initiatives and regulations on artificial intelligence on the books right now. I've shared some of those with you on the screen for you to take a look at. And you'll also find links to all of these in that shared library. What you'll find is that this is a complementary group of regulatory approaches that are together creating an environment in which we run our models and make decisions based on that model output that are characterized by various trade-offs in risk, privacy, surveillance versus permitted uses, and so on. Notre Dame, the university where I work, is also a signatory of the Rome Call for AI ethics. I believe IBM is as well. There are a variety of ethical approaches to AI that you'll want to consider within your own organizations. Here you see from the draft AIDV legal recommendation, a notion of where this might be going. For example, we recommended that organizations engaged in the processing of information could be provided with the right to define specified categories of data, processing operations, and technological infrastructure as secure processing environments. Then, through confirmation of government rules, we could authorize the functioning of those secure processing environments and remove stipulated acts of data processing from the jurisdiction of other categories of EU information regulators relative to the acts specified in the approved governance rules. In other words, in this environment of proliferating rules, wouldn't it be great if we had environments that we knew were compliant, where you didn't have to respond to queries about divergence from one rule or another over time? Vendors are responding to this as well. We saw day before yesterday, Amazon Web Service and AWS announcing the launch of the AWS European Sovereign Cloud, a new independent cloud for Europe designed to help public sector organizations and customers in highly regulated industries meet those same evolving sovereignty needs that I described on the previous slide. So as vendors respond to different national and international groups' regulatory environments, we're going to see regulated compute spaces come up to match. When we look at AI and data governance rules overall, they often take a risk-based approach to AI governance. In general, AI bills of rights and AI ethics documentation will encourage a risk-based, safety-based, or human rights-based approach, or a hybrid of all three. Here, you can see some of the ways that a risk-based approach could help us to mitigate against malicious use of AI, against a competition for having a better AI in order to create pressure upon competitors, or even to create superior automated warfare. We can see organizational risks. For example, if you have a weak safety culture, or if your AI system has leaks. And the thing that we see a lot about in the press, what if a rogue AI or hallucinating AI or sentient AI was creating information that was deceptive? Here we see in green some of the mitigations that might go along with those risk-based approaches to AI governance. In the AI and data visitation working group, we held as important tenets of our work that adoption of AI bills of rights and policies within member organizations would create mutual trust and benefits for all, and that prioritization of AI governance could improve the longevity and relevance of research environments and communities. Here I outline, informed by Carol Piovesan's work, some essential elements of a responsible AI strategy. If I leave you with nothing else, I hope it's this, that whether you're taking a risk-based, a safety-based, or a human rights-based approach to AI governance within your organization, that if you consider each of these essential elements, you'll be off to a good start. Here we see the importance of documenting key roles and responsibilities related to AI and the unacceptable uses of AI. the importance of appointing an AI working group whose role it is to oversee AI systems within your organization, allocate resources to those systems, and to develop and maintain AI policies and procedures for your organization. You also see the need for AI training and education for the persons on those groups so that everybody has their nose above the waterline when it comes to AI. So we can all speak a common language about threats, about risks, about safety. We'll also see the importance of AI assessment, ongoing monitoring, transparency, notice, and disclosure, the importance of doing vendor due diligence when it comes to your AI systems and where you run them and where you get your data from, and how important it is to ongoingly test AI systems for bias. As part of the slide we saw before, you'll notice item 4, AI impact assessment. We can do a number of things. Because it's essential to govern systems that can potentially cause certain harms, it's essential to assess the impacts of AI systems. We recommend the below impact assessment elements as essential to prioritize as parts of a responsible AI strategy for any group. Those are to determine what will be the AI system impact assessment process at your organization, to document the AI system impact assessments, to assess your AI system impact on individuals as well as groups of individuals, and to assess the societal impacts of your AI systems overall, as well as to have an impact assessment process that is articulated for everyone in the organization. An AI and alignment strategy is the third component. This is your AI safety research process that ensures your AI systems achieve desired outcomes. Any group creating or implementing an AI or AI policy should consider auditable detection for bias, auditable detection for privacy violations, especially privacy leak detection, and have a control and escalation process that assigns responsibility for investigation, a process for investigation and notification when there is disclosure of violations, and a process for reconciliation or restitution to impacted individuals and groups that can mitigate and correct consequences of non-aligned AI. With that, I'm going to thank you for letting me share this information with you. I'm going to review some of the questions that have come in during my presentation and give you some quick responses, and also direct you back to that shared library where you can access the information put forward by many experts on the topic beyond myself. One question was, is it more likely that the EU will be the first to adopt an AI Bill of Rights, and that it is likely to be more restrictive than a US offer? What we have shown that I just showed you, especially with the AWS offering, is that the answer is yes, in that the EU AI Bill of Rights is likely to be more restrictive than a US offering. We can see that in the text, and we can also see that in vendor eagerness to stand up solutions where that strict environment can be provided so that EU countries still have a place to do research and commerce using AI. Our next question was from someone who said they're struggling with crafting AI ethics policies. Do I have any tips? You'll notice in the shared library a subfolder called Ethics. I encourage you to visit that subfolder. I also encourage you to look through those essential elements I shared. Pick the ones that you have strength in and begin to create a plan for your AI governance group. And then look toward other policies, the ones you see in the jurisdictional and disciplinary ethics policies. Consider what meets your needs as an organization, the needs of your users, and the persons from the countries where your models are likely to be deployed. We also have a question about informed consent, how to be sure your clients and users understand it. That's a doozy, and that's why we had a special group on informed consent. Their draft recommendation is available on the Artificial Intelligence and Data Visitation Working Group website, as are the names of those on that sub-team. I encourage you to reach out to them to read their draft recommendation, and to consider how informed consent is governed in the countries in which your models are deployed. We've got one more, and we're at end of time with 2 questions, not one. One is about biggest legal mistake. I can't comment on that one right now. The other one is about what advances and cautions for AI I see coming online over the next couple of years. And I believe those really have to do with mitigating the way we don't clamp down on model developers in our eagerness to govern AI so that we can continue to innovate and continue to reap the benefits of AI within our organizations. Thanks for your attention, and I have really appreciated the opportunity to talk to you all today.
Thank you. Oh, Natalie, thank you. We're already getting some great feedback on this presentation. Thank you for the resources. So attendees are thanking you for those. And thank you for that information-rich and excellent keynote. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. This does officially conclude the Argyle AI Strategy Summit. I want to thank you all again for joining us and for engaging in our content. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you at the next one.